Hi class, if you're watching this, it means you're in group B and it's Monday class time and you don't know what you should be doing. Or it means you're in group A and it's Thursday class time and you're not sure what you should be doing. So in this video, I'm going to explain what you're going to be doing. Basically, you're prepping your files for next week. Okay, so while you're on campus, you're doing your litho, but you're also prepping your files for the following week, which is going to be Inkjet test and a Silkscreen test. So the files you're creating are not your final art piece for this project. They are tests. Okay? So you're basically making one file. It's a PSD. It's going to have two layers. One layer is your Inkjet and one layer is your Silkscreen, because when it's time to actually print them next week, you'll be printing your Silkscreen on top of your Inkjet. So for this next test, you're going to do an inkjet and then you're going to scroll Silkscreen on top of it. So for your image that's an inkjet, it can be any digital image, a photograph, illustration, text, whatever. For this, I took a photograph of a drawing that I completed during lockdown, and I thought I would experiment with it. So it is black and white, but I want to emphasize that it does not have to be. This can be color, okay? Unlike when you did your litho plate that had to be black and white, this one can be color. Just to illustrate that, I'm going to make it color. Go to adjustments, color balance. Make it kind of a purpley color. I want to play with the levels. That's a little bit less obvious. Okay. So if I'm happy with it, this will be my inkjet print. I'm going to change the image size. I want it to be 300 dpi, pixels per inch. Make sure it's inch, not centimeter. This is the industry standard. For the sizing right now, let's keep the longest side under 20 centimeters for your test. For your real project one, you can go bigger. Okay. Now what am I going to add on top for my Silkscreen? Could be text, it could be details, it could be some more different shapes on it. It's up to you what you want to do. So what I did is, this is actually a rubbing of a key. I found the key and took a picture. So I'm going to put this on top. It's should be big enough. I'm copying it and pasting it into the other file. Okay. Just deleting. Okay, now for this to be silkscreen, it must be black and white, just like the litho. So we'll take it all the way. Now it also needs to be high contrast. But actually, while this might work for litho, it's not going to work for silkscreen. It actually needs to be completely black or completely white. No grays allowed. But there is something we can do if we want grays. We can add halftone. How we would do that is we would copy this and make it into a new file. And put it in grayscale. Okay. Now, if it's not grayscale, you have to put it in grayscale. We will go to bitmap. Okay. So the input and the output should match. You want this to be halftone screen, not anything else. Okay. Now the frequency should be around 27. You can maybe go up to 35, but you don't want to go to a higher number than that. And this has to do with how many lines per inch there are, so make sure you keep this as lines per inch. The shape can be whatever you want. I like round. The angle, 22.5 is like a traditional angle, but it doesn't matter too much unless you're doing multiple layers of this. And then turns it into dots. So what this does, if you look at close, everything's either black or white, and it only looks like gray from far away. So I'm going to copy this into here. Let's make it non-contiguous so that it deletes actually all of the white. This is what it would look like. So that's what it would print like as a silkscreen. You want to keep this file as black though, because basically this is what we're going to use to make our silkscreen, our digital silkscreen. We need an image like this. It could also be text, it could also be a drawing, illustration, as long as everything is either black or white. Okay? And there's another option, what we could do. Another option, if you don't want a bitmap, go to posterize, do 2 levels. Okay, this would also work because it's all black or white. Let's copy, put it in. And again, we don't want any of this white showing, so I'm going to highlight, just delete it. This one, you don't need it all. Let's see, we can do this at a different angle. Move it around wherever you want it on the paper, line it up exactly how you want it. Now, if you wanted to change the scale of this, you should do that before you do your bitmap, okay? because then it'll change the size of the dots. Let's do one more key. And just okay. Adjustments, posterize, 2 levels. Okay. This one's a bit lighter than the other one. White. Okay, so this one actually, so this one we can make it smaller because it doesn't have the halftone on it. The halftone, you don't want to change the size. So we'll go this one, scale. And get something like really far away. Another thing you could do if you wanted would be to use shapes. Selection tool. Okay, copy that. Paste it onto a new layer. We can use this, and then we go to FX, color overlay. We want it to be black, so if it's not black there, you have to go in and select it as black, okay? And then you'll get that shape in there, so you could print that like that. Let's just see what they might look like if we printed them all in a color. So just out of curiosity. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get rid of this layer. I don't need it anymore. And these layers, I'm going to merge them. Okay, so they're all one layer now. And then I'm going to go to FX, color overlay, this, and then, I don't know, let's try blue. Okay, so that's what that would look like after I silkscreen it. Alright, so I think, okay, blue color is kind of cool. Maybe I want it to be darker. So let's go back to color overlay. Okay, and that's what that would look like. Now I can see this one's getting kind of lost. So I don't think it should be there, right? So cut it out, paste it into a new layer. I think it might show up better if it's on like a light area. Disable layer effects and the color is gone. Basically now, if you're ready to print your silkscreen layer. Okay, so now what you'll want to do, we're going to merge these two. Okay, now I'm going to rename it. So I'm going to call this one Silkscreen layer. I'm going to call this one Inkjet layer. Okay, and I'm going to save this as a PSD. Call it Inkjet and Silkscreen, and then your name. And that's what you're going to upload to the blog. So what you just saw was how to make a PSD file with two layers on it. One is your Inkjet layer and one is your Silkscreen layer. That's all you have to do for this week. Everything now that I'm showing you next in this video is just for your information so you know what's coming in the future, but you don't have to do it right now. So basically we're going to print them in Ayesha's room. The Silkscreen will be onto film and the Inkjet will be onto nice printmaking Inkjet paper. And then we are going to actually silkscreen onto it later. But what I'm going to show you in this video is basically what your files are going to end up looking like once they are printed from Ayesha's room. So here's what your silkscreen film is going to look like. If you look up close, you'll see that it's really nice and dark, has some good detail, and you can see all the dots are there. This is what your inkjets are going to look like. You're going to make 4 of them so that you can experiment on them. And you can see that if you line up your silkscreen film on top of your inkjet, it should line up perfectly. And that is how you're going to print it.